Hello there, this is Tula. In the last few days I've been trying to work on my flourishes to get nice decorative lines so I can start decorating and flourishing my calligraphy. And I came up with this practice that I find a lot of fun, so I thought I can make a practice session video so we can practice together. I can only show you what I have found so far and what I've learned, and my lines and shapes as usual will not be perfect, but I think we are trying now to create muscle memory, and I think this sort of playful learning can be very useful. What we need for this is ink. I'm using my mixture of Noodler's walnut ink and gum arabic and water that I love working with. The fine lines are very thin and I get nice thick lines, and sometimes after the paint sits a while it separates into beautiful shades. Now we'll get the ugly ones, I'm afraid. We also need our dip pen or fountain pen, whatever you are using, and a pencil. And the paper I have here is very, very smooth, and I think that's important, because when we come to flourish, we go in all directions. So we want the nib to catch on the tooth of the paper as little as possible and not snag, so we will have very loose and fluid and smooth movement. Also, the nib that you choose to practice on should be one that you are very comfortable with and that doesn't catch as much. Some nibs catch on the paper and you feel it when you make the upstrokes. You get more resistance than in others. So that's my recommendations. I think of flourishes, from what I have experienced so far, as being in drawing mode and not in writing mode. What I see on myself, with myself, is that when I'm writing, most of my movement is in the fingers and in my wrist. And I think for flourishes, I think something's wrong with my nib. Do you hear that? It looks alright. Well, I'll see, and maybe I'll change it later. Anyway, when I'm doing flourishing lines, my whole arm moves, and I try to be in a very comfortable position and have my elbow free to move. And also I'm left-handed, as you can see. I'm writing with the straight holder, and I try to have movement room on my left, so that my arm can go freely and not be stopped or on an uncomfortable surface. So that's what I try to do. And the game, the rules of the game are very, very simple. We're just going to create, oh wait, I haven't told you about the lines that I have seen so far. So what I did to learn about flourishes was look at examples of text, and I tried to to recognize different sorts of lines and shapes so that I can practice on them. And actually all we want to do today is create the muscle memory. So one sort of line that I have seen is what I think of as the tornado. And it's actually a lot of L's. And they can be bigger, and they can be smaller, or they can be wider apart, or they can be in the other direction. L's, the tornado. And another one that I really like is I call it the S, and it's this sort of line, and really it looks like an S, only it has loops in the top and in the bottom, and with them as well they can be larger or smaller. They can be thinner, so the loops are very thin, or they can be more pronounced, and those give us different shapes. Another sort of line that I have seen is to me it looks like how we draw clouds. These sort of lines, and of course they can be the other way, and sometimes they have little loops connecting them, or they have a curve. There are also all sorts of spirals. So some are, wait, there's an airplane. Okay, I'm sorry about that. So another sort of decoration I've seen are spirals. Can be round, and they can start from the center and go outward, or they can go inward, and we see them also in capital letters in calligraphy in copper plate. A lot of them are oval, elliptical, and not a round circle, and of course they can be connected to a line. And let's see if I can do this. They can be combined with other sorts of lines that we've seen, and they go in all directions as well. And also there are these sort of curved lines that not necessarily go over each other, and I think once we get the movements right and we learn the movements, then I think the art will be to combine all these sorts of lines into whatever suits the letters or the shape of the composition of our text. And probably one day we'll get there. Okay, so let's start practicing. I think the easiest one to start with will be the tornado, and I start with a drop shape, and I just make a rough outline in pencil. It doesn't have, oh, another one, hold on. Okay, so we have the drop, and I'll just move my paper so that the wider area of the drop is on my left, on my writing hand, and the tip of it is to my right, and this angle will be more comfortable for me. So I'm just starting to fill it with L's. And what I try to do with the L's is keep my both my upstrokes, the thin ones in the back, and both the downstrokes, the thick lines, to try to keep them parallel to each other and preferably in the same distance from one another. I'm trying to keep my upstrokes light and get the movement from my whole arm, although I think this depends on the size that we are working in. So soon, when I get to the tip and my size reduces, I think my movement will change into finger movement. Yeah, and my hand remains stable, my arm. Okay, so that's a tornado. Let's try to take it on the other side. Let's try starting from the tip and going wider. I'll have to watch out here. And I'm doing the same sort of L's. Now if you draw, you will probably know this, that in drawing, if you want something to look close together or far away, you make the lines closer, and then as they grow wider, they seem closer to you or wider. So we can use this to give our shape further depth. I had too much ink here. Okay. So I'm feeling my movement starting to change, and my arm is being involved now. And I'll start to spread, start to spread the distance. Okay, I can go on. I'll try to pick up my shape, my line. And here I have a spiral as well. Shall we try another one with the L's, with the tornado, maybe an upside down one? Or you know what, I want to try two different kind of drops. One in which I go from top to bottom, and another one, make this really large, that I will also go from top to bottom, but we'll start with the narrow tip. Okay, so for my hand, because I'm left-handed, I'll start with this one, and I'll make, if this is a regular L, I'll make them like this. And now, since I'm going horizontally, there is hardly any, there are no wide lines. I have to stop again. Okay, I just added some pencil lines with notes for myself, which direction my nib was in. So these I got with my nib facing this way, and since I'll get the same kind of lines with this one, I want to try to tilt it a little bit. Let's see. Do it here. So I'll tilt it a bit more, and then my lines will be like this. So maybe just a bit more. Okay, let's try this one. So I'm going this way, and my nib will face this way. Let's see. Okay, I've got the inverted L's. Oh no, that's not what I wanted. Really trying to get them parallel and with even spacing. Okay, going a little bigger, and my movement changed, I can feel it. And if your nib snags on the paper, you can try to go a little lighter on the upstrokes. Wait, this is not the direction of my nib, this is the direction. Okay, it's got ink on it. Alright, another stop.